Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Hard Truth. Thank you so much for watching. I am wishing everyone a blessed week this week. Don't be stressed out. I want you to be happy and hopeful. Speaking of hope, hopefully, this is my first and last video on Linda Lane in the Idaho 4 case. Now, everybody has a right to believe whatever they want to believe. Whatever you believe, I support you because you have a right to your opinion. But personally, I'm not willing to just spin my wheels in fantasy, and I'm definitely not trying to waste your time spinning yours on baseless speculation. So here we go, y'all. Grab that coffee or a nice cup of tea as we begin our story. There are certain things we have to believe in order to believe any of the Idaho 4 were killed on Linda Lane. Number one, the crime was not planned because no one would plan a quadruple murder where they purposely move the bodies from one residence to the next and have to clean up at two crime scenes. It sends the risk level of getting caught through the roof. We have to believe that whoever planned this um, planned to create two crime scenes in residential areas, just spontaneously, basically. Look at how congested these neighborhoods are, with people walking around and running around in the wee hours of the morning, even to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. We see people on body cam in Banfield walking and running. All right. And also, there was a lot of noise in the Linda Lane audio. Again, that residential area is very congested. Um, Somebody on Linda Lane would have called the police, and they didn't. All right. The problem with that evidence, even down to somebody saying they're going to get you for this, it points to the Idaho 4 crimes being planned and planned for a specific reason. All right. So that marks out anything spontaneous, and it pretty much cancels out somebody who's actually planning a murder, meticulous, leaving no blood trail, even on the exit doors, to be, on the flip side, spontaneous. They just plan to do it moments before they did it, and they're dragging the corpses around the city. It just doesn't make sense to me. Number two, Xana and Ethan came home and left again. We would have to believe that Xana, again, her father said she called him late and she was at home eating. If the crimes were planned, why would anyone lure two people out of the house to unalive them only to bring them back to that same house where they plan to unalive at least two other people with the police riding around? All right? The most logical move would have been to dump the bodies in a remote area from Linda Lane where it would take time for the police to find them. It makes no sense that they would even try to take bodies that they already can get the death penalty for and travel across the neighborhood and up 2 flights of stairs to put Maddie and Kaylee up in their room and I guess Dan and Ethan are already in their room. That makes absolutely no sense to me. Now, some people believe that happened fine. I just don't. Okay? Linda Lane is full of surveillance cameras. I can name two right now that were fully functional that night. And we don't see anybody running from Linda Lane on body cam. We see him running from the direction of 1122 King Road at about 312. All right. At the same time, people were walking with alcohol. This was a busy night. It was busy traffic on Taylor Avenue. There were people walking and running around. I just don't believe that somebody had not only the nerves of steel to move a body through that, two bodies, but to do it when they don't have to. They didn't have to do it. I mean, that's not logical. And if they were involved, the people running on foot, they couldn't have been transporting anybody because they were on foot. All right, so let's move on to the next point. I want to put a pin in the Linda Lane discussion right now as I plan to discuss it in more detail in my lives this week. All right, the members only live Wednesday at 12 p.m. and the public live on Thursday nights at 8:45 p.m. You can also call in, get on stage, and give your 2 cents. If you think I'm wrong about all of this, call in, get on stage, and tell me to my face. All right? Don't try to sneak in my comments and tell me or threaten to unsubscribe and hit the unsubscribe button. Come on stage and say hard truth. I disagree. This is why. Let's have a conversation about it. All right? That's if that's what you want to do now. All right. Now, uh, in statistics, it's what we call mutually exclusive events. That's when two events cannot take place at the same time. For example, I can't physically be in Europe and Africa at the same time. All right. So when we think of that in the context of DM and Bethany's phone records, if they were texting each other, as this is a rumor, I think, as far as we know, but there is some indication in the PCA that DM and BF's phone records are what they structured a lot of the timeline around. So if DM and BF were texting each other, whether they were doing it inside the house or for somewhere else, one over here and one over there, that tells us they couldn't have committed the crime. You can't be texting and unaliving people at the same time. You can't be texting and helping someone else unalive at the same time if y'all are all in the same place. Regardless of where DM and Bethany were when they text each other, they weren't together. And it would take both of them together to commit such a crime with only sharp edged weapons and then clean up at least some of the crime scene. So if DM and Bethany were texting each other, I am concluding that they could not have been the unalivers. All right?